in time.
Echo's a rebellious street kid with smarts, a daredevil genius who uses his inventions to survive and thrive on the corrupted streets of Zaun. In-game, Echo plays the role of a solo-lane skirmishing assassin who uses his guile and crowd control gadgets to outsmart and outmaneuver his targets before blinking in to bludgeon them down. Echo's passive is Z-Drive Resonance. Whenever Echo hits an enemy with a basic attack or damaging ability, he applies a stack of resonance. The stacks drop off after a few seconds, but if Echo's able to thunk the same target 3 times in quick succession, the stacks trigger, dealing extra damage and slowing the target briefly. That's against minions and monsters. Triggering resonance on an enemy champion applies the same extra damage and slow, but also gives Echo a brief speed boost. Finally, Echo can apply resonance to multiple targets at the same time, and after triggering his stacks on a target, they briefly turn immune to his passive for a few seconds. Echo's Q is Time Winder, a medium-range skill shot that serves as his primary damage and harass ability. Echo tosses out a chrono gizmo that damages all units in its path. Once the device reaches its max distance or strikes an enemy champion, it expands, creating a large but short-lasting slowing field. After it collapses back down, Time Winder shoots back to Echo, dealing extra damage to whatever the ability strikes on its way home. With good aiming, you should be able to hit your lane opponent twice, so get super aggressive with Time Winder. After you land it, all you have to do is walk up, which should be easy enough thanks to the ability Slow, and smack him in the face to trigger your passive. Echo's W is Parallel Convergence, which has a passive and an active. Passively, Echo's basic attacks deal extra magic damage to all low health enemies, including minions, monsters, and yes, champions. When he activates his W, he bats a time thing to a target location, which, after a brief pause, creates a pretty big slowing sphere. It'll fade away after a few seconds, but if Echo manages to enter the sphere before then, it'll detonate and grant him a quick shield. Even better though, enemies caught inside the sphere when Echo detonates it end up stunned for a few seconds. Echo's enemies see him cast Parallel Convergence, but won't be able to spot where he aims it until just a few moments before the zone kicks in. Cast Parallel Convergence on your escape route whenever you're running for safety. The shield usually helps you survive incoming damage, and the slow zone will leave most enemies in the past. Echo's E is Phase Dive. On cast, Echo dashes a fixed distance to a target location before gaining a bunch of range on his next basic attack. Once Echo begins his next attack, he blinks to his target, dealing extra damage and applying all the on-hit and spell effects he has hidden up his sleeve. Remember that Echo can pass through terrain with both parts of Phase Dive, meaning he can get pretty damn slippery when he wants to. Yo, Phase Dive has a ton of uses. Dive across walls, dodge enemy skill shots before blowing up a squishy, or, if you like living, just use it to make your way to safety. Hella uses. Echo's ult is Chrono Break. Whenever it's available, Echo leaves behind an image of himself that indicates wherever he was exactly 4 seconds ago. When he hits his Giga Chrono Break button, that's where he'll reappear, dealing massive damage to all nearby enemies and recovering a portion of his lost health. The trail is a super useful way for Echo to keep track of where he's going to Chrono Break back to. But remember that it's not just him that can see it. Allies and enemies can too, although they will need vision of Echo. Note that Echo briefly turns untargetable and invulnerable whenever he uses Chrono Break, and that when he reappears, he'll heal up based on the amount of punishment he's taken over the last 4 seconds. Use Chrono Break to dive a little bit deeper, or abandon your teammates when the fight goes wrong. It's not your fault they can't time travel.